Hi, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode in the Impact series hosted by 4Zero. My name is Michael Palmer. I'm one of the co-founders here at 4Zero and lead recruiter. Today, delighted to be joined by Marco Möller of PIONIX. So Marco, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me. Hi, Michael.
The pleasure's mine. What we'll do is obviously, look, Marco, we'll include a link to your LinkedIn profile and PIONIX as a company as well. But I mean, you've got a pretty cool tag on your LinkedIn page: serial founder, renewable energy activist, tech geek, and physicist. It's quite the intro. So look, before we kind of get into, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and PIONIX as well.
Okay, also I can tell about that a lot. So in a nutshell, I have a background in physics. Before doing that, I was not that good in school initially, but then found my heart for, okay, let's go all in on nature science and engineering. And there's a young scientist competition in Germany. Was active quite a bit in that and won some prizes. And there's now a kind of an alumni organization in this young scientist community club, and have done a lot of work there, learned a lot of amazing people. And after that, studied physics. And then during studying, I met my nowadays co-founders for the last startup. And we created together a drone company, building small fixed-wing aircrafts, measuring the entire world, like for big construction sites, big mining sites like this one here, and also for all kind of infrastructure projects. And we sold that company 2016 to Intel, worked a bit there. After 4 years or 3-point-something years, we left the company and created something new, and that's PIONIX. That's our current startup. We doing electric vehicle charging infrastructure, so wall boxes, superchargers, but not the entire one, just the software stack, because we realized that 90% of the code in all those chargers, so the firmware, is actually the same all over the place.
Okay.
And you can harmonize that. And actually, for example, the same happened in the drone business. So our previous company got crunched a bit, like many others, by a big open source disruption of standard software stack for that problem. And we looked at this charging industry, realized, okay, it feels exactly the same like drones 10 years ago.
Okay.
So let's repeat that. Now we are the iceberg.
Right. So you're coming in now, disrupting the space.
Yeah, as every startup founder is disrupting something, we also do that.
Okay, so your solution then is it? I think when we had a chat before, it's an open source solution, all right?
Yeah, we go all in on open source. It's way harder to monetize. So as a startup founder, and also if you talk to investors, like, how do you make money with giving away your software for free? It's always the first questions, even from clients, like, okay, now this is a big present. Why do I don't have to pay for it? And the good thing with this present is you can get amazing market adoption, like a world domination scale. Yeah. But you don't get in conflict with the law because it's open source. No one has to work with your company. It's all voluntary, no vendor lock-in. And some of that want to have our services. Like, you can think about it like the Red Hat of charging. So people want to have stabilized versions of the firmware stack. People want to have integration support. People want to have extra services which we built on top. And all of that, will not work for everyone, but for those who will this work, I think we can make also an amazing venture story out of this.
Yeah, so it's kind of giving the software away for free, but actually selling a premium version, selling services on top of that. That's the kind of business that's how you make your money.
Yeah, right.
So and is there, I mean, we discussed this before. I know you've got some pretty big name customers and people you're working with. Are you able to share the details of some of the customers, some of the businesses that you're already partnered with and you're working with?
Yeah. So in principle, we really try to create this huge stack of different companies working together on building this ecosystem. I mean, the beginning of a charging station typically starts with a lot of electronic components. And we're working with, for example, Texas Instruments, one of the biggest chip makers.
Yeah.
And they do all the reference designs for charging stations based on our open source stack. And there's a couple of more of those companies joining us over the next months. Then we're working with those who are building, let's say, small computers going into charging stations, or those who build other components, power meters, isolation monitors going into charging stations, and creating this ecosystem which just works with all the hardware components in a plug-and-play Lego way. And on top of that, we're working with actual charging station makers who sell their charging stations to the market. We're working with also a couple of big names there. Most of them I can't name yet. Möller I can name. That's one of those 100,000 people company in Germany supplying the automotive industry. And then at the end of the day, we're also starting to create kind of a consortia of charge point operators, big companies who really see the benefit of purchasing chargers with open source stack because it's easier customizable, it's easier maintainable for them. We're also working with a lot of big car manufacturers, feels like almost all of them, testing their prototype cars, testing their new versions. Because one of the big challenges in our industry is, on the one hand, you have, let's say, 100 or different car types. On the other hand, you have 1,000 different charger types. If you want to cross-test everything, you have 100,000 combination. That's basically undoable. And consolidating that on a single software implementation, not only on a PDF document for the standard, but really on actual code, is helping everyone. So everyone thinks this is amazing and enjoys our mission.
Super cool. And so what stage is the business at now then? Is it, are there, you obviously, we talked about this part, is your software being used live and in the field, or is it still in kind of testing beta phase at the moment?
So the Möller is already deploying it live in the field. They have been one of the earlier customers. Then there's a lot of development kits and reference designs where you can already buy this or test EVerest with, but this is more like an engineering product. It's not like an end consumer product or field product. But there's a lot of things happening now. Those engineering projects take, let's say, between a year and two often. Maybe if you're a startup and fast, maybe it's only half a year. So you can expect there's a lot of things happening in the background. Company-wise, we're now 20 people actively hiring, especially in engineering. We built quite an amazing business development team over the last weeks. And now it's more on, we need, embedded software engineers. We need software engineers in general. There might also be some cloud components to it. We financing all of that through the seed funding round we just did. We collected.
I was going to say very successful round as well.
Yeah, to be honest, funding is hard nowadays. Also for us, it took a while, but then we found really cool gang of VCs. The round was massively oversubscribed. I think we could have got 14 millions and then ended up with picking 5 point something out of that. Well, 40, that will bring us a while.
You could have gone to 40 million.
14, but the problem is
14, sorry,
it doesn't fit to the company size. So if I would take in such much money, it would dilute too much the shares, and we couldn't do the next round. So this way, everything is fine. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, for a company, I think you said founded in 2021, 5 million raise, 5 million round is look, it's impressive by anybody's standards. A couple of things. The 5 million euros that you've received, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to spend it on? And what does beyond that, what does the future look like for the business?
So as I said, so we plan to do the software globally. So, and also the engineering projects take really a while. So at the moment, we're really investing in market penetration with the open source, getting everything together, implementing all the existing standards, already starting on implementing things which are not standard yet. So being ahead of the curve of innovation, which is kind of our goal, that we are on all the relevant software components and communication channels and innovation fields ahead of the curve, like always the new things with us. And it feels like we can do the catch up in the next year easily. And on top of that, building business. And you have to invest quite a bit into that because you're not getting paid immediately. This is a more long-term game. And that's where we need the public fundraising.
Yeah, cool. And how many people are in the business at the moment?
At the moment, we're around 20, and I think we will have another couple of hires this year in engineering and way more next year.
Yeah. So what if we were to fast forward 2 or 3 years, how big do you think the company would be at that point?
So I think, depending on who you ask, I should now say like 100 people. I think realistically it might be 40, 50. We have to grow a bit careful, at least in the beginning, because it's difficult situation with fundraising out there. So we got really lucky, and I guess we'll also be lucky again. On the other hand, we can't burn the money like shit. That doesn't work nowadays.
Yeah.
And also we're playing a long game here with not automotive, but close to automotive processes at our customers. Nothing is moving super fast. If you want a customer, you want them for 5 years, because they effectively won't leave you, and also the contracts are written that way. Bit like with building a car. If you're part of a car, new Mercedes car, you will sell for a couple of years for sure. Yeah. And similar in our business, but it also means like you have to play the long game. It's not like, hey, I'm building a new web app and in 4 weeks from now I have 1 million subscribers. It doesn't work in our field this way.
Yeah. Like, I know a lot of VC firms, investors, they are urging caution when it comes to, the head count, rather than just going out and being frivolous, obviously. Whereas previously there was kind of encouraging just to go and higher. There is a little bit more caution. So that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and that was anyway in our DNA. The last startup, we entirely bootstrapped. So it was a clean exit only on the founders. The thing we're doing now wouldn't work with bootstrapping, because for obvious reason, you're not making immediately money with giving away open source for free. So it's hard to bootstrap. And also you want to be ahead of the curve in order to win this game. So it's a VC case. What I also forgot to mention is we're really planning to also go into Asia. There's also another announcement around Asia and investment happening in the next, I would say, months. We have basically a mid-sized startup, but we have to play it globally, which is also in our DNA from our past.
Yeah, well, and also look, it's difficult. Well, difficult to do all things all at once in all territories as well.
Especially in open source, where you normally have like, I'm the vendor and there's a client and I'm selling him things. For us, it's like building an ecosystem with a lot of players, with other suppliers. We are inviting the ecosystem with other industry consortia. You have like 1,000 moving parts. You have to bring all of that together to have a really successful strategy. Feels a bit more complex, but it's also fun to actually execute and seeing when it comes to life and starting to work. So it's a bit special what we do here. Yeah,
indeed. Well, last kind of question for you. Then we're kind of coming towards the end of our our sort of allotted time. But look, you said it yourself. You're aiming for world domination.
Sure.
What do you think I suppose are the biggest obstacles that you're going to face in kind of in trying to achieve that, and how are you going to how are you looking to overcome those?
I think at the moment it's like a bit like, but there's 2 types of customers. Those who don't have anything, they are often really easily to convert. Like, look, let's take this open source as a kickstart. We will be way faster. And there are those who have already invested for the last years into this industry. They will be a bit hesitant, like, oh, damn it, I have to build so much, now I have to throw it away, like this sink and cost problem. But we see them realizing that it's a sink and cost problem. And then you have this innovation cycles, like every 1 to 2